Right, let's dive straight into the latest kerfuffle. Picture this. The year is 2025 and the air is thick with trade war rhetoric. Whispers have been circulating that German automakers, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, are considering a dramatic exit from the American market. The catalyst? Former President Donald Trump's vocal pronouncements on tariffs, particularly on cars, casting an ominous shadow over German exports and their US manufacturing operations. Are we on the verge of seeing Auf Wiedersehen, America signs on the factory gates of some of the world's most iconic car brands? Let's investigate. To understand the current jitters, we need a trip down memory lane to Trump's first term, where tariffs were handed out like parking tickets. The justification for hefty import duties on foreign cars, often targeting German manufacturers, was wrapped in the cloak of national security. Critics pointed out that this seemed like a creative interpretation of national security, more about rebalancing trade relationships and encouraging foreign companies to produce more within the US. Fast forward to the present, and with the prospect of Trump's return, those same tariff threats are being dusted off. There's talk of blanket tariffs on all imports, and a renewed focus on European cars. It's a high-stakes game of chicken played with economies instead of muscle cars. How did BMW, Mercedes-Benz and Volkswagen react to this symphony of tariff threats? With considerable alarm. These companies have invested billions in US manufacturing plants. The primary concern was cost. Tariffs mean increased operational expenses, potentially billions. This financial pressure throws a spanner in the works for future investment plans in the US. Furthermore, the impact on employment levels at their American facilities became a pressing worry. Higher vehicle prices are the inevitable consequence, which can dampen demand. German automakers signaled a broader economic chill that could affect everyone from the factory floor worker in Bavaria to the car buyer in Boston. Their alarm bells were ringing loud and clear. What does all this tariff turmoil mean for the US? The narrative that these tariffs are a straightforward win for American industry and workers is simplistic. The reality is far more complex and concerning for the American economy. One immediate concern revolves around American jobs at the US plants of German automakers. If tariffs make it more expensive to import essential components, the viability of these operations and the jobs they provide comes under threat. Tariffs on imported cars or parts lead to higher prices, which can dampen demand. US auto manufacturers like Ford and General Motors also rely on global supply chains, meaning they import parts from all over the world. Instead of a clear US versus them scenario, it was more like an everyone gets a bit bruised situation. While the US grapples with the domestic consequences of these tariff threats, the shockwaves travel across the Atlantic, causing significant economic tremors in Germany. The interconnectedness of the global economy means that actions taken in one part of the world can have far-reaching effects elsewhere. The automotive sector is a cornerstone of Germany's economic might and a massive employer. This industry is not just about cars, it's about the pride and precision of German engineering. When its biggest export market starts making threatening noises, Berlin listens. The German government is acutely aware of the stakes involved. Germany was Europe's leading exporter of passenger cars to the US, with these exports valued at 23 billion euros. This trade relationship is crucial for both economies. If tariffs make these cars more expensive, that export flow could slow to a trickle, impacting company profits and overall economic growth. Consumers might turn to cheaper alternatives, further straining the market. Beyond the immediate export numbers, there's the wider impact on the German economy. The ripple effects could be felt in various sectors from manufacturing to services. The auto industry supports a vast ecosystem of suppliers and service providers. These businesses rely heavily on the health of the automotive sector. If the big manufacturers like VW, BMW and Mercedes-Benz sneeze because of US tariffs, the entire German economy risks catching a cold. The influence of these giants extends far beyond their factories. Job security becomes a concern not just for those directly assembling cars, but for countless others whose livelihoods are intertwined with the sector's success. The potential job losses could be devastating. German automakers are already facing significant global headwinds, including declining sales in key markets like China and the costly transition to electric vehicles. These challenges require substantial investment and innovation. U.S. tariffs exacerbate existing vulnerabilities and force companies to make tough decisions about investment and future strategy. The path forward is fraught with uncertainty, and the stakes have never been higher. The entire automotive industry is currently navigating a monumental transition to electric vehicles, a shift that is reshaping the landscape of transportation as we know it. Some German auto giants, long considered the pinnacle of engineering and reliability, have faced serious challenges keeping pace with new agile competitors who are more adept at innovation. The global EV market is fiercely competitive, with companies from all corners of the world vying for dominance in this rapidly evolving sector. In China, local EV brands have surged ahead, leaving established foreign players scrambling to maintain market share in the world's largest auto market. Back in Europe, the once booming EV sales have shown signs of decelerating, causing concern among manufacturers and investors alike. Factors like a scarcity of affordable electric models and the phasing out of government subsidies have cooled demand, making it harder for consumers to make the switch. This slowdown hits German manufacturers particularly hard, as they've committed vast resources to this electric future, betting big on a market that is now showing signs of instability. Volkswagen's EV deliveries in Europe fell by 12% in Q3 2024, and Mercedes-Benz saw a staggering 31% decline in its battery-powered car sales, highlighting the challenges they face. Professor Helena Wisbert pointed to significant shortcomings in how German automakers prioritized EV development and managed battery costs, which have been a major hurdle. Any additional burdens like U.S. tariffs on their traditional combustion engine vehicles come at a particularly inopportune moment. The pressure on these manufacturers is immense and the stakes have never been higher. With all this turmoil, what do the experts foresee? The consensus is one of caution and concern. Michael Robinet of S&P Global Mobility commented that further U.S. tariffs would escalate the challenges already buffeting the global auto sector. One interesting point Robinet made was regarding the U.S. labor market. With unemployment relatively low, the feasibility of shifting significantly more manufacturing jobs to the U.S. becomes questionable. Industry analysts warn that if German car manufacturers decide to scale back their investment in EV strategies, it could seriously impair their long-term competitiveness. The future appears to be electric. Taking your foot off the accelerator in that race now could mean being left far behind in the years to come. The enduring impact of previous auto tariffs serves as a stark reminder. Strategic planning for German auto companies becomes an exercise in navigating extreme uncertainty. The broader financial and industry implications of this ongoing tariff saga are substantial for both the US and Germany. For the German auto giants, the financial picture has already been looking cloudy. Volkswagen experienced a dramatic nearly 64% drop in net profit for the third quarter of 2024. Mercedes-Benz and BMW have also issued profit warnings, citing sluggish EV sales and tough competition. Now, throw in the prospect of hefty US tariffs. This acts as a direct hit to profitability on cars sold in one of their most important markets. It could force them into costly reconfigurations of their supply chains or accelerate painful cost-cutting measures. For the US, the implications are equally complex. If German companies scale back US investments or operations, that means fewer American jobs and less economic activity. The risk of retaliatory tariffs from the EU on US exports could harm other sectors of the US economy. So, are the German auto giants actually packing their bags and preparing for a dramatic exit from the American market? This question has been on the minds of many industry analysts and car enthusiasts alike. Despite the alarming headlines, the short answer appears to be, no, not quite. Companies like Volkswagen, BMW, and Mercedes-Benz are not just brands. They are institutions with deep roots in the American automotive landscape. These companies maintain a substantial manufacturing footprint and sales operations in the US, contributing significantly to the local economy and job market. Pulling out would be an incredibly drastic, costly, and complex undertaking. It would involve not just financial losses but also logistical nightmares and potential damage to brand reputation. However, the situation remains incredibly fluid and fraught with uncertainty. The global economic landscape is shifting and companies must adapt to survive. The threat of tariffs creates a deeply unstable environment for business planning. Tariffs can significantly impact profit margins and force companies to rethink their strategies. What is highly probable is a continued reassessment of investment strategies and a greater emphasis on diversifying markets and supply chains. Companies are likely to explore new markets and reduce dependency on any single region. They might not leave, but they might become far more cautious about deepening their American roots. This cautious approach could mean slower expansion and more conservative investment. The saga of German automakers and U.S. trade policy illustrates the interconnectedness of the global economy and the disruptive power of protectionism. It serves as a reminder of how delicate international business relations can be. The future for these auto giants in America will depend on careful navigation and strategic adaptation. Only time will tell how they will maneuver through these challenging times.